relationships, not bureaucracy. My community charter, community consultation charter guarantees that groups like NQCC and the residents sit at the table for disaster planning, shading and restoration priorities. Council will work with traditional owners and local experts to co-design solutions while ensuring state funding supports people and the planet. I fully support comprehensive greening Townsville strategy. We'll begin with an urban canopy audit, prioritising suburbs more affected by heat. Funding will be directed from sponsorships into shade trees, urban cooling and nature corridors. It's about fixing what we have, not adding new debt. Thank you.
Candidate Patel, thank you.
My vision for Townsville is build a sustainable, resilient city by balancing the growth with environmental protection, focusing on water conservation, fostering a circular economy and improving community awareness and action. Key strategies: water sensitive and urban design, managing our natural resources, reducing the waste we bank, transition to renewable energy, building community-based resilience, which has earned the city a recognition as a global green destination. Balanced growth and environment, accommodate population growth while minimizing natural resources. And sustainable land use of planning. The planning must be done in a way of balanced growth and native, greening, smart growth, protect residents probably from flooding as well, which I think some of the areas in Townsville, like Fairfield Water and that, I don't know how they built houses there because they're low-lying areas. And that's why I think we need to be very careful how we plan the future of Townsville. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Greenie, thank you.
I announced a greening strategy about a week and a half ago, and it was in and around the CBD, but I think we also need to extend that to the greening corridors along our major infrastructure, for example, from the city out to places like JCU, and how we make that a lot greener. I think council has to be the lead in this role and work with community organisations. I've been a councillor on Magnetic Island now for 10 years and have worked with Minka and MICTA and MIRA about these issues. So I think that council really needs to be at the forefront of this. We have, as you would all know in this room, we all have an amazing Green Warrior and Greg Bruce and some of the initiatives that he has put forward. I think sometimes council can become a bit hamstrung in some of the approvals that are required, and we really need to work with state government to lift some of those approvals that they impose on state government. I'm certainly not casting blame there, but what I really feel is that, council is the closest to the community, and yet we get these state government legislations that sometimes prohibit us from doing what we need to do, and we need to get better at that. And I have lobbied the state. I had a meeting with Natalie Ma this morning and mentioned it about that. It's about loosening some of those approvals that we can get into our waterways, that we can get ecosystems up and happening, and some of the legislation around yellow crazy ants and things like that really hamstring council in getting these projects delivered.
Yeah, thank you. I'll have to sort of answer that question in part by saying the Deputy Chair of the Disaster Management was a very important position, but what it does, it brings everybody together, the communities and all the police, the AMBOs, the hospitals and all those, to work out what sort of plan we can have for these disasters that we've had. And even that last disaster with the rain and everything at the start of this year, brought all those people together with our flood maps and what we were going to do if things got a lot worse. But in saying that, I'm also, as the Chair of Water and Waste, I was the one who was responsible to to bring that Western Pipeline treated water back into Townsville, 10 megalitres, because I wanted to green Townsville as well. And that's one of the things I want to do as well in council if I become mayor, is green Townsville, and also open up our plant at Mount St John's to get much more treated water to all the estates that are going out in Bushland Beach, North Shore and those sort of places. That's a very important thing for me, and I'll push that as hard as I possibly can. Thank you.
I have 3 strategies for that. Firstly is to join the Climate Council City Power Partnership. That's 175 councils in Australia that are a part of that action movement. The Whitsundays, Cairns, Mackay, Port Douglas, all a part of it, but not Townsville. 35 years ago, we were leading Australia in conservation strategies, in solar paneling, in 100,000 trees planted. And folks, we've fallen off the map with the environment as a priority. And if I'm elected mayor, it's back to being one of the most important aspects, especially in a World Heritage Area. The second is the Townsville Livability Laboratory. This happens in Darwin, and it's based on research. It's a mitigation to increasing heat and flooding. It's actually researching and testing where that is happening in the city and planning accordingly. And the third is a greening Townsville strategy, because it is proven by the 330-300 rule globally that you need 3 trees in your yard, you need 30 canopy trees around you in your suburb, and then you need to be only 300 metres from a major park. Because for local government, cooling our city is the best strategy to climate change.
Right. Well, I support all that. In fact, I can't pick anything wrong with it. In fact, council are already doing a really good job with their environmental. I've got a sensational person in charge in Greg Bruce. I've worked with him before. I've been caught on an air flight between Townsville and Melbourne. I can tell you that's hard work when you've got someone who's so passionate about the environment, and that's what you get for 3.5 or 3 hours. But I don't regret it at all, because I learned a lot and I'm still learning. And we're all still learning. We're all passionate about the same thing, and that is protecting ourselves from climate change and making Townsville the most livable place we can in Northern Australia, if not in Australia. So that's we share all that. I have an idea that the Gurrumbilbara, I think, land, is that how you pronounce it, at Aikenvale, which has been sitting. We've all seen it. We all drive past it at some stage during the week. That has an amazing opportunity to lead Townsville in a greening strategy. And if we can get the Obigaya-led organisation to make a decision on that, and they have a great plan for it, but in that plan we've got to make sure that there is a greening strategy using First Nations experiences over 60,000 years about how to look after our country here. Why not ask them to help us with that? They've learned a bit over that time, so we should be learning from them. So it is about water, greening, and the lessons we learned from Gurrumbilbilla can help developers and council with their greening strategies.
Thank you very much, candidates, for answering that second question.